And he's allowed 1 run and struck out a pair in 3 innings of work. I would imagine he starts next season at AA, but he could have an opportunity to move up AAA at some point, just like he moved through the system in 2019. So for Nick Mears, he only has 3 innings of work at the AA level, so expect him to stay there, as well as Oneil Cruz. I believe he'll probably start at the 2019 season at AA, and they could push him to AAA at some point. Once he gets pushed to AAA, if he's succeeding there, the bells are really going to start to ring. Okay, when is Oneil going to get to Pittsburgh? And in all reality, it depends how the Pirates are faring next season. We could potentially see Cruz as a 2020 September call-up. That is not too far out of the horizon of possibilities for Cruz. And the Arizona Fall League is going to be a big indicator just to see, where Oneil Cruz is in his development. Because the kid is only 20 years old. He's still very young. And the Pirates, they don't have to be forced to push this guy either because of the looks like the clear-cut shortstop of the future in Kevin Newman, with guys behind him in Cole Tucker as well. So the Pirates do have a pretty good bevy of shortstop prospects they can go to for the time being when Oneil Cruz is working his way through the system. There's really no reason to push Cruz hard. If there was, they probably would. But then again, it is nice to see him get to the AA level, and I'd imagine that's where he starts the season in 2019 as well. And again, he is by far the most intriguing prospect that the Pirates are sending to Arizona, to Peoria. And one of the most intriguing prospects in all of baseball. MLB Pipeline recently put a spotlight on him. The 6'6" shortstop. If he makes it to Pittsburgh, he would be the tallest shortstop ever. And he has big power potential in that bat as well. So, and it's a good product that the Pirates really have with all this infield prospect depth. And you just go behind Cruz as well. Steven Alamace will be coming back next season. He underwent season-ending surgery. So I would imagine he probably AA, AAA next year, and then Ji-Hwan Bai behind them. So the Pirates definitely do have a bevy of guys, and you look even further to some guys that they drafted this past couple years, Zach Cohn, Ethan Paul. The Pirates, again, have a bevy of infield prospects, a bevy of shortstop prospects, and guys that they can say, okay, we feel comfortable with going to him and making him part of this Pirates team in the future. And Oneil Cruz is certainly one of them. Getting into Jared Oliva a little bit, really liking what I'm seeing from him. I would imagine he, as I said, odds are he will begin the season next year in AAA. And again, the Pirates, they do have a nice outfield prospects to go to as well. The 2020 outfield, from the makeup that I'm seeing right now, it's appearing to be like it's going to be Reynolds, Marte, and Polanco. Now, we discussed if the Pirates do go down the route to this offseason of going into full rebuild, and if they do trade Marte, then the outfield will look like Jason Martin, Brian Reynolds, and Gregory Polanco. And even if they do not trade Marte, Polanco with his injury history, it's Jason Martin is going to be the fourth outfielder. But then, who is behind that? Because we saw very early on in the season the Pirates having to go very deep into their outfield depth. And, quite honestly, it worked very well. But if you look behind Jason Martin to say, okay, who's the next guy up if, we need to go to that fifth outfielder? And Jared Oliva could be an option in that situation as well. Will Craig has been testing it out in right field. He made a couple nice plays the other night for Indy. But Oliva is definitely a true outfielder. Will Craig is not. And we'll see what Oliva can do in the Arizona Fall League. I mean, this is going to be a big test for him as well. He's going up against the best pitching talent that he's ever seen. That's the same thing with Cruz, too. Like, if these guys can step up and, prove to be capable guys, like we saw what Cole Tucker did in the Arizona Fall League last year. He batted .370. We saw what Will Craig did in the Arizona Fall League. He was, an objectively better player than Vlad Jr. Still yet to see him in Pittsburgh. We might get a chance this September. Who knows? But all in all, it's going to be an exciting Fall League, and I'm excited. They kick off September 18th for Peoria. They're teamed up with the Astros, Red Sox, Mariners, and I want to say Padres prospects. So it should be a pretty good team that they got. Again, the Pirates are sending Oneil Cruz, Jared Oliva, Blake Cederling, Cody Ponce, and Nick Mears down to Peoria to compete in the Arizona Fall League. Should be some very exciting stuff, and we'll, of course, have all of that coverage early in the off season. Mitch Keller picked up an honor on Tuesday night. A Pittsburgh Pirates starting pitcher picked up a big honor on Tuesday. Mitch Keller was named the 2019 International League Pitcher of the Year due to his excellent work during his time with AAA Indianapolis this season. In 19 starts for the Indians, Keller posted a 3.56 ERA and a 3.60 FIP in 103 and 2/3 innings of work. He struck out 28.2% of batters faced, walked 8%, and allowed 0.78 home runs per nine, while eliminating opposing batters to a .239 batting average. When Keller was permanently promoted to the MLB level earlier this month, he was leading the internationally with 123 strikeouts. Additionally, his 3.56 ERA ranked second in the league at the time. Keller is the second Pirate pitcher to win International League Pitcher of the Year in recent years. During the 2017 season, Stephen Brault took home the award. Keller has now made 6 MLB starts. In these 6 starts, he has pitched 27 1/3 innings and has allowed 4 home runs. He has struck out 25.6% of batters faced and walked 8.5% of batters he has faced. While Keller's 7.24 ERA is ugly, it does not tell the entire story, as his 4.02 FIP indicates. After getting shelled in the first 2 starts of his career, Keller has been much better in the last 4. Start number 7 came on Wednesday night against the Phillies. He really did get roughed up, but still a lot of promising stuff moving forward. In the start, Keller was trying to look to build upon his best MLB start in his last outing. In that start, he pitched into the 7th inning for the first time in his career. He allowed just 1 run and struck out a career-high 9 batters. Moving forward, Keller is a vital part of the Pirates' plans. The team needs him to become the top-of-the-line starting pitcher that he has all the tools to become. If the team has any chance of contending in 2020, Keller must be this pitcher. Hopefully, he will begin to evolve into this pitcher during the final month of the season. Now, Keller did get roughed up pretty badly in his start against the Phillies, but he still did strike out 8 batters. And we take a look again. His ERA is definitely not what you would consider a pretty one, not what you want to have as a major league starting pitcher. But this is a part of the growing pains that Mitch Keller has really gone through at all levels of his development. Keller's ERA stands at 8.61 right now, but we go and we take a look at his FIP. FIP is more of a proper indicator of what the ERA really should be rather than what it is. And we look at what Mitch Keller's stands at currently, and we see a FIP of we see a FIP of 3.77. So that's actually gone down since his last start. So even though he got absolutely, rocked on the line, his FIP went down. His ERA should be 3.77. And to put that in comparison, that is lower than Joe Musgrove's season FIP at 3.93. That's lower than Chris Stratton, Stephen Brault, Michael Feliz, Francisco Liriano, Trevor Williams, Chris Archer, Richard Rodriguez, Kyle Crick, Dario Agrizal. It is lower than all of these guys' FIP, and, some guys are ahead of him in that category. He's right in line with what Jameson Taillon did earlier in the season. But, again, he's just been getting unlucky in his outings, and that shows in the FIP. And, again, if the Pirates are going to be any sort of contenders in 2020, Mitch Keller is going to have to be the top-of-the-line starting pitcher that he has all the tools and all the stuff to become. Now, if he can do that, if he can really evolve into that pitcher this final month of the season, which really, the surface numbers aren't there, but the peripherals, if you dig deeper into the numbers, they're there, and he has been one of those pitchers. And, we look at the time since Mitch Keller has been called up, what you would say for good in that start against the Angels back earlier this month. We take a look at, since then, what has, the success rate been if you compare him to other pitchers on this roster. Mitch Keller, out of all of the pitchers, since he was called up for good, leads this staff. And it's not like it's a little lead. He has 26 strikeouts in 19 1/3 innings. Number 2 is Joe Musgrove with 16 strikeouts. Okay, he is an elite strikeout pitcher, and we haven't really had that. And yes, Jameson Taillon, can still be that when he returns in 2021, but we need those elite strikeout guys. Even, Chris Archer is obviously one of those guys. In his 6 innings this month, he is, since August 12th, he has 12 strikeouts as well. So you pair a Mitch Keller and a Chris Archer atop the Pirates rotation. Trevor Williams is starting to regain his form. Joe Musgrove, if he can be the guy that we know he can be. And Steven Brault being what he has been, arguably the Pirates' most consistent starter this season. With depth guys, Chad Kuhl will be back in 2020. Maybe you try to stretch out a Chris Stratton, JT Brubaker, James Marvel. The Pirates do have the starting pitching depth, but really what is going to tell the tale, I believe, of the 2020 season, if this team can contend, is how is their pitching going to do? Is it going to improve? Because, it has been awful. Just to put it blunt, this season, much different than what we expected it to be. Now, a lot of that can be, pointed at injuries. Every single guy in this rotation has experienced some time on the injury list. So, if we can have a healthy rotation of Keller, Archer, Williams, Musgrove, and Brault with, Chad Kuhl right there as depth, it can be a very, very exciting team. And we look at where Mitch Keller stands in his FIP since that time. He does have the most strikeouts, but his FIP, it currently stands at 4.13. So that, it's a bit jumped, but I really do like his strikeout number since then. Again, plus 10 on anybody on this team since August 12th. It's been very impressive to see what he can do with his strikeout stuff. And really, when he's starting to lean on his slider and his curveball a little bit more than his fastball, and keeps the hitters off bounds, and it allows for, the elite strikeout guy that he is to really show up and show out. Again, also Dario Aguzal as depth for 2020 as well. From what he's shown, I don't believe he's in any way earned a rotation spot, especially with Chad Kuhl coming back. But the Pirates, again, they have all the pieces and all the tools to be able to compete and be a good baseball team in 2020. And Andrew McCutchen said this last week when we were in Philadelphia. He's confused as to why this team is the record that they have. There's just so much talent on this roster for this team to be this bad, for them to be 19 games under 500. It's puzzling when you have two rookies, two guys in the top 10 in the batting race. You have the second guy in RBIs with Josh Bell with 108. He has 34 home runs. You have Starling Marte with the season he's having, Colin Moran with the season he's having, and it's puzzling. And again, a lot of that goes back to the pitching and the failures that this pitching staff has endured. You look at the ERA on the season. It has not been pretty, folks. The ERA for the Pirates on the season is 5.13. 5.13. That is not good. You take a look at what the team ERA was just a year ago. 1 year ago when they were a winning baseball club. So we're 5.13 right now. This number is going to shock you. I can promise you that. It was definitely not 5.13. The Pirates ERA, when they went 82-79 just a year ago, were a winning baseball team. And winning baseball teams have good pitching. You ready to hear this? It might shock some of you, just the difference. It was 4.02. Almost a whole run different. And again, a lot of that can go back to some of the ERAs that we're, seeing in guys that, are having elevated ERAs. Last year, Trevor Williams, a 3.05 ERA. Joe Musgrove was down at 4.13. Brault. So there are things, and it's really just an overall pitching staff. And again, I am not going to completely blame that, because a lot of this you can, throw on the injuries that this team has endured. But again, if this team wants to be a competitive baseball team in 2020, a lot of the burden, a lot of the weight is going to fall on Mitch Keller's shoulders, especially with the Jameson Taillon Tommy John surgery. Yes, Chad Kuhl is going to be coming back, but Mitch Keller has the stuff and has the potential to be the replacement for J-Mo in 2020. If he can be that, and this team could not only make a wildcard spot, but potentially win the division. That's how much talent is on this roster. That's how much talent is on this team. And again, it's puzzling to see them have this 14-32 stretch. It's puzzling to see them being 19 games under 500. It doesn't make sense. But same token, they just have to move forward and gear up and get ready for 2020. And it's going to be a very important month for Mitch Keller. And if you're going to find a reason to watch in September with the Steelers, coming back into play. Watch Mitch Keller starts